Hi guys, it's Yashi. This is a video I really wanted to do for a while because the headlines are really making me angry and I feel like buyers need to have some positivity. Lately I've been flooded with headlines and videos about home buyers who bought a house in the past 3 years who are having remorses about becoming a homeowner. Some felt like they overpaid, some bought a house without doing an inspection that needs a lot of repairs, some simply wanted to get out of rent and make the most out of low interest rates and bought the first house they found to then realize it's not really the house they needed. Well guys, this video is for you to confirm the fact that you literally took one of the best decisions that a person could do in America in the past 3 years. So let's get right through it. Let's talk about the most common issue I hear out there. Repairs. Many new homeowners in the past 3 years place an offer on the house they bought without contingencies. For those who don't know what contingencies are, it's basically clauses where if some specific things are not met during the period where you place the offer and close on the house, you can literally walk away from the purchasing contract with no expenses. This is of course for the buyer side. Normally when you buy a house, you put an inspection contingency and then hire an inspector. Basically, once the inspector comes back with the inspection report, you can look through this inspection report and if you like it, you can go ahead and buy the house. If you don't like it, however, you can either ask the seller to do some repairs that the inspector noted should be done, you can ask the seller to lower the price, or you can simply walk away and be fine. In the housing boom we saw in the past couple of years, we saw many buyers waive all of these contingencies to make the life of the seller easier. Why? Because of the low amount of homes that were for sale and the super low interest rates out there, everybody was flooding the market to buy a house. So in order to convince the seller, on top of offering more money, they were also waiving a lot of these contingencies. This led to some buyers, unfortunately, buying homes without knowing that there were some minor, medium, or huge problems with the house. I mean, I get it. The water heater is not working, the roof is leaking, the floor is not perfect. I understand. Adding more costs right after you just placed a 6-figure mortgage under your name can be stressful. But here's the thing, now compared to before, you actually own the house. So whatever money you're putting in the house, you're putting in yourself. If it is a minor repair, you can save, wait for a second and have it fixed later, or even DIY it. You'll be surprised by how many things you can achieve if you just put some time into it and learn how it's done. But if it is a major problem, find a way to fix it immediately, because if you wait, it could lead to many more problems and more expenses in the future. Now to the second one. You were in a rush to buy, you bought the first house that was out there. 2 months forward and a beautiful house pops up for the same price and now you're pissed. Damn my impatience, damn me, I should have waited for this house to come and I would have bought the other one. The fact is, if you love that other house that just popped up, I'm pretty sure that many other people do the same. The thing in America is most homes look very similar and they have minor extra details that make it pop up a little bit more or a little bit less. So if that house popped up in your eyes, it probably popped up in many other people. And because it was a more interesting house, you have to consider the fact that you either would have had to overpay for it because many other people would have liked it too and would have placed offers, or maybe you wouldn't even have gotten it. I buy homes and flip them for a living or also rent them out, and I go through this feeling every single time. I'm on the market every day and I simply learned to be content with the fact that I'm able to buy and sell homes unlike a large majority of my generation. But guys, if you put it on paper, you just made it. You got out of rent, the money you pay goes towards yourself. The house you own over the next 10 years will probably be more worth than what you paid for it. And if you do stuff properly, this house could also become a source of income for you when you, for example, upgrade to the next house and choose not to sell it and keep it as a rental. It might not be the perfect house, but it's your first one. It's normal, guys. You literally just got to the point that everybody is striving so hard in life. You should be proud of this, guys. Unfortunately, American society teaches about consumerism so hard that people get to the feeling of regret very quickly. But getting a house should be a step that you should be extremely proud of. Congrats to you guys. Now on to the third one, and this is the one I feel like I can really debunk with data. A crisis is looming and I may lose money on the house I just bought. I overpaid for it, I should have waited and bought it during the crisis. This is, I believe, the biggest myth, misconception, lie that is being sent out there. And the fact that both media and YouTubers are portraying this on a daily basis makes me really angry. If you bought a home to escape those rental payments, you probably were planning to live in this house for a few years, is that correct? Real estate needs to be always looked at for a longer term, especially if it's the house you're living in. If the price would drop 10% today, will it really affect you? No, your payments will stay the same. It would only affect you if you were planning to sell that house tomorrow or in 2 months and the prices actually really dropped. But let's see the facts. You just struggled to buy your first house and you recently bought it. Are you really thinking you will upgrade in 2 years to the next house with double the size and double the bedrooms and everything? Guys, even people like Graham Stephan took a while to buy the second and third rental property. So I don't really think so. And if you really think there's gonna be a crisis very soon, let me prove you wrong. Let me try to make this as simple as possible. The prices of home is set by a formula that is driven by the demand, which is that people are interested in buying a house, and supply of homes, which is the amount of homes that are for sale. If the demand, meaning that people want to buy a house, decreases, meaning less people want to buy a house, you will have less people competing for the same amount of houses. Now, if you bring them back up and you increase the amount of houses for sale, you now have more houses for sale for the same amount of people. So home prices will have to be forced down because they need to be competitive to sell the house to the people. Media is saying that high mortgage rates are pricing many buyers out of the market and then decreasing the demand of homes, which will then lead to a crisis because the homes that are for sale will now have to drop prices in order to be competitive for the remaining buyers that are out there. Although this concept is correct, the media is not talking about this side of the equation, which is the supply. Supply of homes has been the lowest in the history of the United States. And although it picked up a little bit in the past couple of months, because many sellers who are people who are selling the house to upgrade to another house are not really incentivized to sell because there are not other homes for sale and the interest rates suck right now, nobody's putting homes for sale. So the home supply is starting to decrease again. And if you look at new homes listed in the past couple of months, the amount of homes is falling off a cliff. Now, if you want to learn why, I posted specifically a video about this, you can check up here. So what is actually happening now, data-wise, is that yes, demand has been decreasing, but supply has been decreasing a lot too, and it is offsetting this effect. If you decrease the two in the same amount, home prices are not really affected because the equilibrium is always the same. Now, this is based on data and it's my opinion, so not financial advice, and do your research. But on paper, it is what they teach you also in school on how supply and demand works. On top of all this, knowing that supply is going down, as soon as Mr. Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, the people who are hiking up interest rates and affecting the mortgage rates, as soon as they will revert the trend of increasing mortgage rates, this low supply and a market that now is incentivizing buyers again because interest rates will be lower, will create another super boom as we saw during the pandemic, where more buyers will come back to the market and they will bid for a smaller and smaller amount of homes, and these bids will pump the prices up. Well, man, what about builders? Here's the thing, builders got scared in the past couple of months, so they are still completing the homes that were in production, but all the new projects they were planning for, they kind of halted. Until they're not confident about what is happening in the market, they will halt construction completely. Which means in the future, the only supply or most of the supply we will see will come from people who already own a house and want to sell the house they're living in. So this problem of supply will become even a bigger issue if this trend from construction will not revert. To conclude, guys, you just bought a house. You just completed one of the hardest steps in life. Relax and understand that in a time where apartment complexes and entire suburbs are being bought by companies, buying a house in the future will probably become more and more difficult. So you may have secured one of the biggest contributing factor that will make people millionaires in the future. Congrats, guys. Pat your back, mamma mia. If there are repairs, try to do them as soon as possible. For the rest, you're doing amazing, guys. I genuinely believe that people in the next 5 years will look back at prices today and feel like we do now, looking at prices in the early 2000s. Focus with your daily lives, save, invest, enjoy. You just did an amazing choice. It might not be the perfect house, but now it's yours. Thank you for watching, guys. Congrats again, and ciao.